I want to preface my response by saying I am not super technical, so I don't understand the inner workings of a tube microphone. I also have not recorded in a bunch of studios, professional studios, a bunch of different project studios. So my opinion is based 100% on the microphones that I have and the microphones that I have used in my specific studio. I have not done deep dive research into forums where people share their opinions and their experiences with tube microphones where their houses are wired up differently. I don't know about any of that. But with that being said, I can't think of any considerations or challenges or precautions that would need to be taken with a tube microphone in a project studio or home studio over a professional studio. In my mind, all of the considerations are identical. The things that I would consider before buying a tube microphone are, number one, the vast majority of them are noisier than solid-state mics. So do I need a sterile, dead silent recording? If that's the case, I would search for a tube microphone that has an incredibly low self-noise, or I would likely go solid-state. Secondly, they are fragile. We have heard dynamic microphones are incredibly robust. Condenser microphones less so. You need to be a bit more careful with condenser mics. Well, tube condenser microphones are less robust than solid-state condensers, so you need to be a bit more careful with them. If you are rough with your microphones, if you beat them up, if you drop them a lot, tube microphones may not be the right choice for you. And the next one kind of goes in line with that. There is upkeep. The tubes do go bad. And as they go bad, you will have that cost of replacing the tube. But not only that, if this is your only microphone, if your only microphone is a tube mic, and the tube goes bad in the middle of recording, you're going to be out. You're not going to be able to record. So you need to take into account the fact that you will likely need to pay to repair the tube or replace the tube rather every 5-10 years, depending on how much you use it. And if you mistakenly drop the microphone, you may need to replace the tube. And if you don't have a backup microphone to use when your tube microphone is down, then you're kind of out of luck. You're not going to be able to record anything. And if this is your livelihood, if this is something that allows you to unwind, that may be a big downside to tube microphones, the lack of reliability for a lot of them. Those are all very big considerations. My experience with the Manley Reference Cardioid microphone almost made me swear off tube microphones completely. I almost swore them off, and if I had not bought a stack of tube microphones before I experienced that Manley Reference Cardioid, I don't think I would have any of these. I would have likely swore them off. Because why the heck would I want to go through the pain that I went through, the difficulty that I went through with the Manley? What happened, I bought this microphone. It had some sputtering sound to it. It sounded really funky, super high noise floor. So I contacted the company. They sent me a replacement tube, tried to fix it. Second tube in the microphone within the first couple of weeks, didn't fix it. So what did I do? I had to ship it back to the company. I didn't have a microphone for 2 months, I think. I am assuming they replaced the tube again. They may have changed some other things. Then I got it back. And still, the noise floor was higher than any other microphone that I had. I compared the Manley Reference Cardioid self-noise to the Audio-Technica AT2020, which has a 20-ish dBA self-noise, which is very high. And the AT2020 sounded dead silent compared to the Manley. Those are things that you need to consider: the reliability, the durability, and the cost of repairing or replacing the tube. If that was my first and only experience with a tube microphone, I would not use them. But luckily I had some good microphones, like the U67, like the LCT 840, like the 1040, like the TF51. I almost said 41, TF51. I had those microphones simultaneously, so I understood, okay, they're not all bad. They are not all bad. But there are downsides to them. There are downsides to them. So would I recommend you as a project studio or home studio user to buy a tube microphone? Not because it's a tube microphone. I think that gets a bit more play than it really deserves. I don't think that's a selling point like a lot of people think. Let me explain what I mean. If you think the TF51 is the best sounding microphone that there is out there and it's the exact tone that you're looking for, and you have the budget for it, go for it. But if there's another microphone that you like the sound of just as much, and you think, oh, but the TF51 is tube, so maybe it'll be better. No. If you like the sound of it and it just so happens to be a tube microphone, go for it. But do not fall trapped to the idea of, oh, it's a tube microphone, so it's going to make my recording so much better. It's going to make me sound so much more professional. No. It's still a microphone. It still captures what you put in front of it. I have heard some people say, oh, a tube makes it sound more 3D. Maybe they have better ears than me. I don't hear it. I don't hear that. I can say that the Lewitt Pure Tube versus the 240 and 440 from Lewitt has a much smoother sound to it. Is that because of the tube? I don't know. So I wouldn't buy this microphone because it's a tube. I would buy it because I like the sound of it. So if you like the sound of the TF51 and you can afford it, and if you have a backup microphone, I think that is an incredibly important thing to consider. If this is going to be your only microphone, I wouldn't recommend going tube. But if you have a solid backup mic that you enjoy, and you want to add the tube microphone as your primary, but if it fails, you can pull out the backup and still record, then I would say go for it. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for the question.